Last year, during the 2022 college football season, the city of Lawrence and the University of Kansas were given an opportunity to host the football edition of ESPN's College Gameday, a staple that has been around for over 30 years. And since I live near the city and went to the University of Kansas, I went to the show, and it was really awesome and got to hang out with a lot of my friends there as well. But that's beside the point. But that got me thinking, which cities during football season hosted the most college game days? Well, after a bit of research, I found out and ranked them. Let's do it. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Drew, better known as RockChalk01, and today I'm going to be ranking the top 10 cities that has hosted the most football edition of ESPN's College Gameday. Man, a lot of cities got the opportunity to host multiple times. Now, a few of them are going to be tied with total appearances, and I based the ranking on who had the most recent appearance, so that's the basis on why they're there. So let's say one city had 7 appearances and another had 7 appearances, but let's say City A last hosted in 2019 and City B hosted in 2017. Well, City B would be lower than City A. So that's how I based it. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think. But without further ado, here's the top 10.
To begin this list, we start with number 10, and that's Los Angeles, California. The City of Angels is responsible for 2 schools, but the one most responsible for being on this list is the University of Southern California. USC has hosted College Game Day 10 times. The first time USC hosted was back on October 9th, 2004, for a matchup between number 7 Cal and number 1 USC. The most recent time LA hosted was back on November 16th of 2013 for a matchup between number 5 Stanford and unranked USC. Next at number 9, it's Notre Dame, Indiana. Now, a lot of people would think it's South Bend, Indiana, but actually the location where College Game Day usually sits is in the city of Notre Dame, Indiana. And yes, it's home to the University of Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish have hosted College Game Day a pretty good sized 10 times. The first time Notre Dame hosted was back on November 13th, 1993 for a matchup between number 1 Florida State and number 2 Notre Dame. The most recent time Notre Dame, Indiana hosted was back on November 7th, 2020 for a matchup between number 1 Clemson and number 4 Notre Dame. Next, we move on to number 8, and it's Knoxville, Tennessee. And this city has seen its fair share of college game days. The university most responsible for this is the University of Tennessee. The Volunteers have hosted College Game Day a whopping 11 times. The first time Knoxville hosted was back on September 9th, 1995 for a matchup between unranked Georgia and number 8 Tennessee. The most recent time Knoxville hosted was back on October 15th, 2022 for a matchup between number 3 Alabama and number 6 Tennessee. Moving up to the northwest portion of the United States for number 7, and that's Eugene, Oregon. One of the cities has seen a recent boom of College Game Day appearances. This is home to the University of Oregon, and the Ducks have hosted College Game Day 11 times. The first time the city of Eugene hosted was back on September 23rd, 2000 for a matchup between number 6 UCLA versus unranked Oregon. The most recent time Eugene hosted was back on October 22nd, 2022 for a matchup between number 9 UCLA against number 10 Oregon. Now we move all the way across the country to our number 6, and that's Tallahassee, Florida, which, if you didn't know, is the state capital of Florida. And the school responsible for this city hosting that many game days is Florida State University. The Seminoles have hosted College Game Day an impressive 12 times. The first time Tallahassee hosted was on October 7th, 1995 for a matchup between unranked Miami against number 1 Florida State. And the most recent time Tallahassee hosted was back on October 18th, 2014 for a matchup between number 5 Notre Dame and number 2 Florida State. Now we move on to the top 5, and at number 5, it's Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which, if you didn't know, is the capital of Louisiana. The school responsible for this is Louisiana State University, or LSU for short. The Tigers have hosted College Gameday an impressive 12 times. The first time LSU hosted was back on November 9th, 1996, for a matchup between number 10 Alabama against number 11 LSU. The last time LSU hosted was back on October 12th, 2019, for a matchup between number 7 Florida against number 5 LSU. Now we move on to number 4, and it's Gainesville, Florida, and this area has seen its fair share of college game days. The university responsible for this is the University of Florida, and the Gators have hosted College Game Day a remarkable 13 times. The first time Gainesville hosted was back on November 25th, 1995, for a matchup between number 6 Florida State against number 3 Florida. The last time Gainesville hosted was on October 5th, 2019, for a matchup between number 7 Auburn against number 10 Florida. We move up to the Midwest for our number 3, and it's Ann Arbor, Michigan. And this city, my gosh, it's beautiful, and it's hosted a lot of college game days. The school responsible for this is the University of Michigan, and the Wolverines have hosted College Game Day an impressive 13 times. The first time Ann Arbor hosted was on October 15th, 1994, for a matchup between number 3 Penn State against number 5 Michigan. The most recent time Ann Arbor hosted was on November 27th, 2021, for a matchup between number 2 Ohio State against number 5 Michigan. We move back down south for our number 2, and that is Tuscaloosa, Alabama, aka the heart of SEC country. And yes, this is home to the infamous University of Alabama, and the Crimson Tide have hosted College Game Day, 16 times. The first time Tuscaloosa hosted was back on September 1st, 2001, for a matchup between number 17 UCLA against number 25 Alabama. The most recent time Tuscaloosa hosted was on November 28th, 2020, for a matchup between number 22 Auburn against number 1 Alabama. And finally, we move back up to the Midwest for number 1, and it's Columbus, Ohio, the state capital of Ohio and the home to the Ohio State University. The Buckeyes have hosted College Game Day a remarkable 22 times. The first time Columbus hosted was on October 5th, 1996, for a matchup between number 4 Penn State against number 3 Ohio State. The last time that Columbus hosted was on November 26, 2022, for a matchup between number 2 Michigan against number 3 Ohio State. And that's going to do it for my ranking of the top 10 cities that have hosted the football version of ESPN College Game Day the most. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Also, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and push that notification bell. And tell your friends about these videos. And I should see you again when the next one comes out. But until then, have a good day. Never ever bring exotic dancers to the field house. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.